I know. I think curiosity is like the most precious trait. In fact, I remember I was in a conference where I heard someone talk about creativity. And you know how organizations are obsessed with innovation. So innovation is the output and creativity is the input, right? One can't have, like, innovation can't happen without creativity. And when you ask people, like, are you creative? There's a vast majority of people who say, no, we're not creative. And I do believe that a key element, like, everyone can be creative. All you need is to stay curious.
Hi and welcome to another episode of the People Hum interview series. This is your host Neha Murthy at People Hum. People Hum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the People Hum blog and video channel that receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming Ankita Podar. Ankita is a senior HR business partner at Amazon Web Services and has been working as HR business partner and learning specialist for the past 8 years. She has had the honor of being invited to leading business schools like IIM Ranchi, IIM Jammu, IFMR, Xavier Institute of Management Bhubaneswar, Symbiosis Institute of Business Management Pune, IRMA, and Madras School of Social Work as a guest lecturer, speaker, and panelist. She is a part of the blog squad for SHRM India and has served as a member of the Youth Council of National HRD. She is also a contributing blogger for Human Capital Institute, People Matters India, OC Tanner, and many more. When she is not writing for them, she blogs about all things HR at theHRBPstory.com. In 2016, People Matters India identified her as among the top 15 emerging HR leaders in the country. She was listed as one of the top 50 HR influencers in the country by SHRM India in 2019 and featured amongst the top 20 HR influencers in the country by ET HR World from the Economic Times India. We're extremely happy and thrilled to have someone of her stature today on our interview series. So, Ankita, with that list of outstanding achievements, let me welcome to you to this interview series.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be a part of the series. I was actually, before our call, going through everyone else who's been interviewed, and I was like, God, I can't believe that they're reaching out to me too.
It's absolutely our pleasure, Ankita.
Perfect.
So, with that, let me just straight get away to the questions. So, Ankita, your passion towards HR is very evident in the multiple activities that you've undertaken during your career. You mentioned that you grew very interested in behavioral economics. Was that the beginning of your HR journey? Could you tell us more about it?
Absolutely. I'm what I call myself an accidental HR because if you asked me at any point of time before I started working, if you saw me as an HR professional, my answer was no. So I have a background in mechanical engineering. And then after engineering, because everyone else was going to business school, I decided maybe I should too. So when I went into business school, my intention was to do finance. I loved the concept of finance, but I understood very little of it, as evidenced by my grades. So when I realized that finance is not something I could do, I switched to marketing. So I actually had my summer internship in sales, and I hated it. So then I went down the list of what else can I do in business school, and I ended up with HR. So that's how I actually got my first job in HR. And I'm so thankful that I ended up here because I love it. I loved it from day one. So like, I'm really glad that I ended up here. And behavioral economics came in later. I chanced upon a course by Dan Ariely on Coursera, and like when I finished it, I was like, I love this. So yeah, that's how I ended up in HR, and then my love for behavioral economics.
That's nice. That's amazing to hear how you started off with mechanical engineering and landed up to HR professional, and it's quite a lot of journey that took in place in the between, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we see nowadays the tech part in the HR is riding and the automation has taken charge, right? So, what do you think is the future of HR? How much does HR tech contribute towards making a brighter future for HR?
So HR, like technology is extremely important, right? I think there are two reasons why, like I'm an absolute advocate for adopting technology. One is just because it helps create space for us to do more. There's still a lot of people who are engaged in what we can view as transactional, which technology can help take away a lot of it, right? Years ago, like all our employee queries were solved by people. So we had a fair number of people employed just to, answer everyday queries like where can I see my pay slip, what's the policy on leave, and so on. And right now, all of that is, with the introduction of chatbots, it's become easier. And no one enjoyed doing it. Like I know that people are like, hey, I don't know what's going to take over our jobs, what's going to happen. But if you spoke to someone whose daily job was just answering these queries, they didn't like it. And what technology did is helped free space for them to do much more. So that's why I love technology, because it helps people in HR. It gives the opportunity to actually do what the profession was meant to do. The other beautiful part about technology is just the fact that it helps transcend most boundaries. It's a fantastic equalizer. Like before COVID, without technology, there was no way we could, put people at their home and enable them to be as effective as they are right now. So for these two reasons, I believe that technology has a strong role to play. However, the future of HR is not HR tech. Technology is just a tool. I think the future of HR is how we redefine work, where we do it, how we do it. So it is exciting times.
Absolutely. I completely love the fact how you said, the future of tech, future of HR is not just the HR tech. The human in the human resources is very important, right? And it just
Absolutely.
helps to elevate the mundane tasks, like, just the day-to-day task has been handled by the tech, while the people in HR can take care of what actually HR is meant for.
Absolutely. So create space is actually my favorite term. And that's something I tell most people. Look, you need to, the most imaginative things and the most innovative things happen when you have space to not worry about everyday life and work, and then have this time to zone out and then just wonder what would the future look like. And you can't do that until you create space. So create space is like the best thing you can do for yourself.
Absolutely, it's very beautiful. And yes, I do agree that exciting times are ahead of. So, as we mentioned earlier, you've been invited to leading business schools all over India as guest speaker and panelist. What was your most memorable experience in that area?
The first thing that comes to mind is I was doing a diversity and inclusion workshop at one of the colleges. And we were talking about the different aspects, and I brought in the concept of ageism, because we talk about gender diversity, race and everything else. I don't think ageism has become as mainstream yet. So we talked about all the other concepts, and then on day two, it was a 2-day workshop. We said, okay, let's also maybe talk about ageism. So I didn't define what it was, and I said, okay, what could it possibly mean? And these are final year HR students, and the thing that took me by surprise is that all of them put themselves as the targets of ageism. So they said, young people are discriminated against because, they think we don't have enough experience, we can't grow up the ladder as quickly, um, and so on. And it's actually the opposite, right? A lot of organizations now tout themselves as being, the young, hip place to be, that the workforce average age is 30, and so on. And we are unknowingly biasing ourselves against those who have too much experience. And when your future generation of HR people come into the workforce believing that they are the people being targeted against, I think it's a cause of worry. So when I told them that, hey, if someone's like got like the number of rejections we do across the world, saying that, oh, you're too experienced for the role, we're looking for someone younger, or just resumes not being shortlisted, right? Is something that they need to be aware of. And it took them by surprise. They said, oh, but it's so hard to work with people who are older. And it was an amazing discussion. And I think at the end of it, they realized that there are two sides to ageism, right? And I think that was the most surprising thing for me, but also the one thing that like stays etched in my memory.
That is really very interesting. Like, it's a very fresh new concept of ageism having two sides, like where even the 20s to 30s age gap is facing something, and at the same time the 30s to 40s are also facing something. It's really
Absolutely.
it's really interesting to know about it.
Yeah. It's like we hardly ever talk about, like even the younger folks, we don't really talk about them being discriminated against anymore. We're just like, hey, everyone wants you. And then they feel uh, that we're not given enough importance or seriousness is fascinating to hear.
Absolutely, I completely agree to that. And also, what's it like to be among the top 15 emerging HR leaders as identified by People Matters? And what has that taught you? And how would you attribute that to your success as an HR professional?
It is fantastic validation, right? In It happened over 2016, few years ago. And at that point, like early in your career, you may think that you're doing well, everything's hunky dory, but validation always helps. And I think that was the first part. The second most beautiful thing about being in the list is the network that I've been exposed to. We connected, like the number of people I've spoken to because of that, I would not have if I had not been on the list. And that's true for most networks that I have outside of the workplace, be it being with SHRM. Um, like all of these have, the most valuable part is that I know people who've done so much. I learn from them on an everyday basis. And it's amazing. And the other thing is I love, for some reason, chasing validation. So it's always a good thing to hear people say that they know you, they know what you've done, and then getting opportunities like these.
Absolutely. I completely agree when you say that, validation is something that is really important. Once you validate, like you get a validation, you get a self-confidence and it boosts energy into you to work more and strive more towards your passion, right?
Yeah, there are two sides to it. Some people say, hey, you don't need validation, believe in yourself. And that's great. Like I admire people who can do that. And it varies from person to person. I don't think anyone would not enjoy the validation, but like early in my career, I needed it, and this gave it to me. Like right now, I'm like, even then, all right, if I don't get it as often, but it's a beautiful thing when you receive it.
Absolutely. So, on the passing note, what advice would you give to the people who aspire to establish a career as remarkable as yours? And what's in the books for Ankita Podar now? In which direction do you see your career heading?
My my advice or request to current, future, past HR professionals is all stay curious. Um, like there is so much to learn, and this has actually become my favorite quote over the past few months, because there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. And for HR, that has been true, right? For the first uh, many years of my career, our core concepts have always been the same, right? We've always talked about the same thing over and over again, with very incremental change, right? Some progressive organizations change quickly, but the general core concepts or the processes stayed the same. There wasn't, like, if someone eliminated ratings, right, that would get talked about for years and years and years. And then suddenly COVID happened, and everyone's accelerating things that we already believed to be true, right? We knew mental health was important. We knew we had to explore remote working, and then so on. And then we suddenly put our feet on the accelerator and then shot ahead. So, and I do believe curiosity plays a huge part in it, because if you start saying, okay, what's happening in the world around me? And not just in HR, I think it's extremely important for HR professionals to keep their eyes on the latest trends in marketing, in finance, in technology, and at least pick like two or three other things that tweak your interest, and bring that into the world of HR. So, because HR doesn't work in isolation. So that's my advice. Like, stay curious, and stay curious about more than just HR. As for what's next in the books for me, so I just moved to a different geography. Uh, it's it's probably on the list of some of the most challenging things I've ever done, especially because I don't know anyone in Dublin except the people I work with. And for most of them, everyone I'm working with, this is all I've seen of them. So it has been very interesting to figure out how do you build a rapport just over video. Some people don't even switch on their video at all. So all you have is going by their voice. And I landed here. For the first 2 weeks, I was in isolation. And then the moment I got out of isolation, they shut down the country. So I think moving to a different geography is something I would recommend for everyone, because there's so much that challenges us. Like, everything I believed to be true my entire life, I'm here and I'm like, there's a different way of doing things. So both professionally and personally, right? It's a beautiful journey. And I am, for the past 2 to 3 years, I've been extremely passionate about socioeconomic equality. I think, and this is me committing myself to whoever is watching this video, right? I hope to do something in that space over the next few years, because that's a space I really think needs to be spoken about more and needs efforts to be made in that direction.
That's lovely. That's interesting to know. And also, I completely love the fact that you say over decades nothing happens, and in a week a decade can happen. I completely, and I'm gonna follow that for sure. And yes,
Perfect.
be curious, and that's how like the learning or the ladder of the never finished, right?
I know. I think curiosity is like the most precious trait. In fact, I remember I was in a conference where I heard someone talk about creativity, and you know how organizations are obsessed with innovation. So innovation is the output, and creativity is the input, right? One can't have like innovation can't happen without creativity. And when you ask people like, are you creative? There's a vast majority of people who say, no, we're not creative. And I do believe that a key element, like, everyone can be creative. All you need is to stay curious.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Ankita.
Thanks, Neha.
It was very nice talking to you, and I really want to thank you not just for your insight, but also for taking out the time to talk with us. And I personally view this conversation very insightful for me, and I'm sure it's gonna help the same way for our audience as well.
I'm really glad. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Hope to stay in touch with you, and stay safe. Take care.
You too.